Picture this if you will. A young man in college sitting in his 2 p.m. lecture on a bright, sunny spring day. He has his laptop open to take notes and a cup of Tim Hortons in his hand. He was drinking double-doubles back then. But rather than listen to this incredibly boring lecture about water tables and other stuff, he plays this game, Singularity. I can tell you with 100% certainty that this game is way more interesting than listening to this lecture about clouds and 100-year storms. That guy was me, by the way, and I nearly failed that class. But no matter! Singularity is a first-person shooter set in 2010, but also 1955. Yeah, it's complicated. So you play as an American soldier named Captain Nathaniel Renko. You've been sent on a recon mission to an island called Katorga 12, which was once held by the Soviet Union. Your mission is to investigate a mysterious electromagnetic surge which damaged an American spy satellite. But once the Americans approach the island, another surge erupts, disabling the unit's helicopter and forcing them to crash land on the island. So this is where we begin, with no weapons, which sucks, but hey, still beats the lecture.
Titan 1 actual here. What's your status, Captain?
Hey, is that the guy from Call of Duty? Overlord or whatever?
Scattered. Don't know how many KIAs yet. Over.
Satellite's got you about 30 clicks south of a radio tower.
Oh yeah, that's definitely him.
Get your team there, Captain. We're pulling you out.
That's Glenn Morshower, by the way, if anyone's wondering. Yeah, that's interesting. Raven Software, who developed Singularity, also went on to develop several Call of Duty titles. Right, so we progress through this broken and seemingly abandoned city, until once again a massive explosion erupts, but this time it blows us back to 1955. We find ourselves in a burning building from which to escape. In the process of GTFO, we stumble upon a fellow who needs our help. We rescue him from the blaze, only to find out later that we just saved a total dick. Nikolai Demichev, who turns out to be a world ruler of sorts. I guess that's why there was a guy in the building yelling at us to let him die. Anyways, we finally get a piece of shit pistol and a half-decent rifle and link up with our surviving squad mate, Devlin. Let me fondle your scrotum! We encounter some monstrous and mutated people. They don't really have names, so I'll just give them names of my own. These are called the Slow Idiots. Not too difficult to take down, but pretty intimidating. They come out of nowhere and rush the player, sometimes moving heavy objects. I totally contradict myself right there. Slow idiots, but then they rush the player. That makes no goddamn sense. Well, anyway, sometimes they move heavy objects out of the way or bust through doors. They're pretty intense. So I guess they're slow, fast idiots. I don't know. There's even a couple jump scares sprinkled here and there too, which is, it's nice. As you move through the city, we find out that the Soviet scientists have been conducting experiments on the civilians of Katorga 12. These experiments are aimed to uncover the effects of E99 on humans. E99 is a rare material, with superpowers, etc., etc. It's sort of like plasmids in Bioshock. Actually, it's exactly like plasmids in Bioshock. The E99 is what turns everyone into these monsters, and here's your game on a silver platter. Ship it. Is this guy an idiot? We knew coming here that Katorga 12 was a Soviet-controlled island. Everything should be in Russian. The audio logs, videos, memories, everything. It should be weird to see things not in Russian, which they are. I'd rather see like actual Russian words with a little subtitle pop-up or something for more authenticity, But whatever. Ugh. Eventually you run into these Russian soldiers. Huh, what? Russians? Who would have thought? Anyways, these guys are a lot more fun to kill. Definitely getting the Call of Duty vibe, which is a good thing, of course. You're eventually overrun and forced to flee, only to be captured by Victor Demichev. Come on, though, you can't see the resemblance? Wait a minute. Raven Software eventually worked on Call of Duty games, right? Does that include Black Ops? It did! What? Does that mean Victor Reznov was inspired by Nikolai Demichev? I guess we'll never know. Anyways, Demichev kills who gives a fuck and you manage to escape. We link up with a woman named Kathryn, who some say looks a lot like Alex Vance from Half-Life. Kinda, I guess. She's a member of a group called Mirror 12. I stopped caring at this point too, except for the part where it says Demichev is 29 in his picture. That's a hard fucking no, bud. Dude is at least 40. Okay, so here's the point of this game. Rescue the scientist Victor Barisov from being murdered by Demichev, and ultimately stopping Demichev from taking over the world. Got it? Good. So let's talk more about weapons. In particular, this.
This gun is the best gun ever.
I mean, just look at it. Need I say more? This is the Seeker rifle, and it is so much fun. It's super overpowered though, so you can't actually carry this gun all the time. It's like carrying a turret in Halo. It's super fun, but eventually you run out of ammo, or if you wanted to switch weapons, you'd automatically drop it. It's placed in wide open areas for you to fly around and enjoy watching body parts fly in every direction in slow motion. Wicked. There's your other standard guns as well. Pistol and rifle, like we mentioned before. Shotgun, sniper, and a few others. Like this rolling, exploding ball gun thing. It sucks. There's maybe a handful of areas on the map where this gun makes practical sense, but in any other open field battle, it's slow and clunky. Same with the rocket launcher. Pretty hard to control the direction of the rockets. I rarely use those. I use this, the autocannon. Once you get this baby, the game becomes a walk in the park, as if it wasn't already really easy. Everything in your path becomes mulch in seconds. It's pretty fun, but for someone looking for a challenge, use the pistol, because it sucks. How could I forget the TMD? I didn't. That's what I'm talking about now. The TMD is short for Time Manipulation Device, which is powered by E99, the rare substance I mentioned like 5 minutes ago. It's a device that Renko picks up early on in the game. It allows the player to alter certain objects' age, meaning make something old and broken back to new and functional again, or vice versa. It's got that blue and orange reticle, just like Portal. You can use them on enemies as well, like turn dudes into fart dust, or upgrade the TMD to get other powers like the Time Freeze Ball, or this Energy Pulse. Grab objects from far away and launch them at enemies. Yeah, starting to get vibes of another game. What could that be? Even more similarities to BioShock? Let's just take a closer look, shall we? Both games have phantom memories that randomly pop up showing the player what horrors took place in the distant past. Both games have the ability to pick up objects from a distance and launch them at enemies. For instance, like every gamer's BFF, exploding red barrels. Both games have objects from the past that can be brought into the present through these hazy clouds. That was BioShock Infinite, but it's still BioShock. And if BioShock Infinite counts, there's also these tears in time that allow the player to pass through. Both games have health and superpower bars. BioShock has Eve and Singularity has E99. I mean, they're pretty much the same goddamn thing. Both have similar starting weapons, pistol, shotgun, rifle. In both games, the story takes place in a remote city removed from the rest of the world that only a select few may live. The superpower element, plasmids and E99, are introduced to the population with adverse effects, and ultimately resulting in the fall of the city. Both games have multiple endings based around the choices made by the player, i.e. use the power for good or evil. Both have randomly placed voice recordings of civilians and villains from the past. Both have projector videos that bring the player up to speed. Again, I don't know if that counts, but it's here for discussion. Right, well, now I've got all that out of the way, let's talk about the problems I have with this game. Starting with the controls. I guess this really isn't a fault of the game considering I can change the button layout.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
And maybe it would be better if I played with a controller rather than a keyboard and mouse. Oh my god, did I just say that out loud? No, hear me out. Okay, you're playing a game. You walk up to a door. What buttons do you press to open the door? E, right? Nope. R. Fucking R. The reload button is also the button to interact with stuff. Press R to open door. R to reload. R to pick up objects. R to cabinet. R to dumpster. What the hell? And that's not the end of it. E can also pick up objects. But that's with the power button. So you can pick up with both E and R. So this concept can get really confusing. Especially when you're in a boss battle that involves catching things. Also, the sprint is way too short. And felt unresponsive at times. Sometimes the textures wouldn't load and you'd just be standing there like, where are the textures at? But that's more of the fault of the game engine, I guess. I don't know. Another thing I didn't really care for was the notes and recordings littered throughout the game. I just ended up running right past them. Not just because I couldn't give a deep fried shit about what they were about, but also because you have to stand right next to them and wait. At least in BioShock you can carry on and do other things while you're At least in BioShock you could carry on and do other things while you're listening. But in Singularity, if you walk away from it, you don't hear what they're saying. So it just felt like you were slowing down for little reward. Speaking of slowing down, more unavoidable pop-ups. They can fuck right off. I bitched about this in my Dead Space video too. Go watch my Dead Space review. Also, the character game metrics are a bit messed up too. Like, look how huge this reception bell is. And am I a giant compared to all the other characters?
Let's go.
I don't want to shit on this game too much, due to the fact that it was made in like 7 months. I couldn't find a reliable source mentioning this, but apparently it was in development hell for a few years, until finally getting shoved out the door in a little over half a year. This, I think, is what led to the balancing issues this game has. By that, I mean there were times I had little to no ammo, or none at all, or way too much. The enemies also feel pretty weak for the most part, but also very difficult at times. It's like, weird. Difficulty comes and goes in this game for the wrong reasons. More time for the game tuning and playtesting would have really helped this game a lot. But that being said, this game has some pretty interesting enemies and tons of cool environments. You got these teleporting ghost bitches in the hangar, I guess. This annoying swarm of exploding shits in the sewers. The hive mind on the train. Big brutes on the bridge. Blind, but definitely not blind assholes in the tunnels. This game is pretty fun, and despite all these shortcomings, it's really enjoyable. All in all, it was a great time killer in college. I would definitely recommend this game to anyone. Not only so we could talk about how awesome the slow-mo sequences were, but also the plot holes. Yeah. Like, where did this blade come from? Is this a propeller blade, or is it a fan blade? How did it get here? Still cool as hell, but it makes no sense, dude. In all seriousness, though, this was the first thing that got me thinking. In the beginning, when you encounter Demichev and he shoots the dude, you're given a window of opportunity to escape. Someone shoots up these bad guys from what I can see is a high vantage point. Some might say, oh, it was Kathryn. Right. So you're telling me she shot up these guys from up high, was able to escape and get down to the basement before me? Yeah. So who were the other shooters? Oh, other members of Mir 12. Okay then, why didn't these other members of Mir 12 help at any other point in the game? They just sit back and watch 3 people struggle to save the Earth from Demichev's reign? That seems kinda dumb. Or how about Titan 1? We got to the radio tower in the early stage of the game to re-establish contact, and that's it. Renko wouldn't try to contact his superiors after that? To hell with protocol! Okay. Well, how about this? We find out that this guy in the beginning of the game, the guy yelling at us to let Demichev die, was actually Renko himself, who went back in time to try and stop himself from saving Demichev. Why wouldn't he try to stop himself sooner? He knows where the helicopter crash site is. He knows where Demichev will fall through the floor. Just saying, appearing in a random room and yelling at himself makes no logical sense. Finally, the biggest plot hole. The whole point of this game. Rescue the scientist Victor Barisov from being murdered by Demichev, and ultimately stopping Demichev from taking over the world. Well, we did that in the first hour of the game. There's Barisov, there's Demichev. Headshot. He's dead. He won't be taking over the world now. The end. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more morbid content. Peace.
You wouldn't listen to me. She wanted to draw the soldiers.
Dude, what the fuck are you eating? What is that?